Welcome to my channel. Today I want to share with us some information about insulin resistance and our African food. So what is insulin? Insulin is a hormone in our body that is produced by our pancreas. It helps to get glucose from our bloodstream into our cell. I will show you a demonstration. Okay, here's a demonstration. Here's your bloodstream, here's a cell, and your pancreas. So at any given time, your bloodstream has about 4 grams of glucose in it. When you eat food, the glucose go up. Your body, your pancreas produce insulin. Insulin is like the key that allows the glucose to go from the bloodstream into the cell. So this is what insulin is. We'll get back to this demonstration later. So now that we know what insulin is, let's talk about insulin resistance. So what is insulin resistance? Insulin resistance is when your cells becomes resistant to the insulin being produced by your pancreas. So here's a demonstration. So when it comes to insulin resistance, this is when the cells become resistant to the insulin being produced. Here's a normal cell. When it gets enough glucose, after it's full, it stores the rest of the glucose as fat. When there's too much glucose, the cell becomes overfilled. So when it comes to insulin resistance, this is what we are looking at. This is when the cell is full, but yet insulin is still being produced. So your cell becomes resistant to the insulin because it is full, and the cell cannot allow any more glucose to come in. So another way we can think about insulin resistance is just imagine you're having a party at your house, and then you have one person come in, you have 2 people, 3 people, 5 people, and then let's say your house can fit about 50 people, but then more people keep knocking on the door and they want to come in, and you're telling them you cannot fit any more people in, but yet they keep coming. So you probably will give up and just allow people to come in squishing like sardines very tightly, but yet your house is full. So think of insulin resistance in that way. So now we're going to talk about what triggers insulin to be produced. So every time you eat, insulin is released. Let me show you a demonstration. So every time we eat, there is an insulin response. Out of the 3 food groups that we eat, carbs and sugar has the greatest response of insulin. Protein have a moderate response to insulin, and fat has the lowest response to insulin. So what does all this information have to do with our African food? We know that majority of our African food are made out of a carbohydrate, and most of the time they are refined carbohydrates. And as we saw in the demonstration, carbohydrate has the greatest response in insulin. Over time, all this causes us to become insulin resistant. And insulin resistance is responsible for about 90% of all metabolic diseases. This includes diabetes, hypertension, stroke, and all the metabolic diseases that we have today. So what can we do? What we can do is, first of all, stop eating sugar. I will do an extensive video on what the damage sugar does to our bodies. So we need to stop eating sugar, lower the amount of carbohydrate that we eat in a day, and then eat less frequently. Because every time you eat, you trigger insulin. So instead of eating 6 times a day, which when we eat breakfast and eat a snack, and lunch and eat a snack, and then dinner and then eat a snack, that causes us to eat too many times in a day. Rather than that, we can eat 3 large meals in a day, and that will cut back on the amount of times insulin is being triggered. You might wonder, what can we eat? Because majority of our food are filled with a lot of carbohydrate. I'll be making videos on how we can turn our African food, our high carbohydrate African food, into low carb food. Thank you so much for watching. Please share these videos and let us be aware of what we are putting in our body and become healthy together as a community. Thank you so much for watching. Until the next time. Bye.